exec, el exec, el exec. El Belé, el Belé, el Belé. El fenómeno que todos quieren ser. El chamaquito que no pueden entender.
How we doing? How we doing, guys? How we doing? Welcome to episode 77 of the El Boricua y el Parcero podcast. I am your host, El Velez El Boricua. My friends, we have arrived. One game left in the NFL season. It's a chance to celebrate. It's also a chance to, kind of be sad a little bit. This is the last NFL football we're gonna see, in a while till next September. So, well, if you want to August, I guess if you want to go to preseason. But enough of that. We'll get into that. We have 2 weeks to get to it, but we'll talk about the games, the NFC Championship, the AFC Championship. We'll break it down from every angle, everything that happened, decisions, coaching, players, and we're going to talk about how we're watching some of the greatest things in the NFL and sports, essentially, and we can't take it for granted. Little housekeeping things before we get started. This will be one of the last episodes that is going to be audio only. I finally, the studio is getting a big upgrade, green screen, lighting. We got a camera. We're going to be posting on YouTube. Hopefully, we're going to be getting clips and shorts and everything like that, so you guys can enjoy my reactions, how they actually happen. While I'm doing the podcast. So very excited for that. Very, very, very excited for that. I want to thank my family. I want to thank my friends for supporting me and absolutely being behind me throughout this whole process and showing that, telling me that this is going to go far and believe in the dream that I have. So I want to thank everybody. And we're big things in the future. First thing to start off. Before we get to the NFL, we got a couple coaching things, and now that the Lions are out and the Baltimore are out, there's a couple coaching things and maybe some surprises and stuff like that with coaching in the NFL. But something that I noticed in the NBA this week, you got to understand, and people are saying, oh, they don't play defense. And they complain about, oh, they don't play defense. This is defense in the NBA. That's what they say, right? But how about instead of saying we don't play defense or they don't play defense, how about everybody is just so skilled at scoring the ball? How about is it that they've been training since they're 5 years old shooting? Pivot, footwork, how to attack a screen, how to attack a blitz, how to dissect the floor. How about the fact that this is the most spaced out the NBA has ever been? In the 90s, you never had to go set a screen at 30 feet. But with a guy like Steph Curry and Damian Lillard, Trae Young, a lot of people are shooting from out there. Anthony Simons, a lot of people are shooting from out there. Even rookies, Jordan Hawkins is shooting from out there. You know what I'm saying? Bogdanovich, like you're mostly everybody on every team, even LeBron, he's shooting from 30 feet. So it has turned into the fact that defenses are so scared of giving up the three that the easiest shot in basketball, the layup, is giving up more than the three. That's incredible. In transition, look at everybody's progress and process in transition. Depending on who has the ball, even if they're a bad shooter, they might take a transition three. It might be 1 on nothing. It might be 1 on 3. It might be 4 on 3. Guess what? If it's Devin Booker, if it's Kyrie, if it's Curry, if it's Clay, Anthony Edwards, Shea, Chet, they're pulling up from transition. Even LeBron. So all this scoring explosions, you got Embiid, 70. Wilt stuff. averaging 36 a game. That's insane. 36 a game, 7 foot, 270 pounds. That's insane. Playing like a guard, dribbling like a guard, using his body. Yeah, he gets a couple layups here and there off of putbacks and stuff like that, but he's shooting the ball, jump shots from the free throw line, taking threes. Luka, 73. 73? You know this was going to happen. He had 60-point triple-double last year. 73 this year. Booker, 62 in a loss. Which speaks volumes, because normally you hear somebody score 62, it's either a blowout or they were, grinding it out to the end. No, they lost. Cat, 62 in a loss. That's absolutely incredible to think about. That's kind of normal now. It's happened the last 4 or 5 years. 3 or 4 people have scored 60. A 50 ball is kind of normal. Yeah, it gets talked about maybe that night. But look at Curry. Curry scored 46, 9 threes. Against the Lakers in a double overtime game that was an absolute classic. Now, we're going to talk about the 40 free throws. Let me repeat that. The Los Angeles Lakers got 40 free throws. You want to know how much Steph Curry, greatest shooter of all time, one of the greatest players of all time, top 10 in my opinion ever. You want to know how many free throws he got? In a 48-minute game? 3. 3 free throws. Austin Reeves got more. D'Lo got more. LeBron, of course, is going to get more. Anthony Davis, of course, is going to get more. Taurean Prince. 40 free throws. Steph Curry, 3. Okay, Steve Kerr didn't want to get fined, so he circumvented his disdain for the free throw disparity by saying, "Oh, I don't want to get in trouble. My mom's here. I'm gonna be on my good boy behavior." That is embarrassing for the NBA. When one of your greatest coaches of all time is trying to save your face, but still burying you, saying, hey, this is a problem, and it's with one team. This is not a league-wide problem, guys. No, this is not a league-wide problem. This is a Laker problem. Okay? And he alluded to the fact that it happened in the playoffs last year. The only reason the Lakers lost to the Denver Nuggets is because the Denver Nuggets absolutely shitted on them when it came to the offensive side of the floor. Because if you look at the free throw disparity, even in that series, it wasn't close. But I digress. And Curry hits a go-ahead three-pointer. Beautiful set play. Vando falls. Curry has a wide open 3. You give the best shooter of all time a wide open 3 with the time, going down. Probably going to sink it. Sinks it. Goes up 1. 1.2 seconds left. LeBron to the line. Now give him credit. He made him and went up 1. But 40 free throws? This is getting egregious. And when I mean egregious, it's like it's kind of annoying to watch them play. Because you're not just watching the Lakers play. You're watching the refs. Every drive, you're watching the refs. Every time Austin Reeves touches the ball, you're watching the ref. You're waiting for it's annoying watching basketball when you're waiting for the whistle. When you're watching the play. The whistle should be secondary. The whistle should be something, okay, there was a foul on that play. Okay, cool. But when you're watching basketball and you're just like this. All right. There's a play going on. And if it's the Lakers, wait for the whistle. Wait for the whistle. 5, 6, 7 times out of 10, you're going to hear one. Austin Reeves, Anthony Davis, LeBron James, D'Angelo Russell, Rui Hachimura, Taurean Prince. Don't matter who it is. You're going to hear a whistle. And they're going to go to the line. Over, and over and over again. But I digress because I've talked about this since last playoffs, and I've talked about this since the in-season tournament when they were down 11 three separate times, and the three times that they were down 11, in a matter of 4 possessions, they were down 2. Why? Constant. Okay? It was like clockwork. Okay? It's very annoying. I digress. Let's talk about a little bit about the coaching searches. Ben Johnson and Mike McDonald are going to be interviewed around today or tomorrow for the Commanders job and the Seattle job. Now, Adam Schefter, without giving too much away, he said, Bill Belichick has not been mentioned in any of these teams yet. Now, there was a report yesterday that Bill Belichick might go to TV with Gronk and Tom Brady at Fox. And if he does, hey, man, do it. I would love to hear Bill Belichick as an analyst. That's one of the smartest football minds in the history of the NFL. And to pair him up with his arguably the 2 best players he ever coached. I say arguably because you have to think of Vince Wilfork, and of course he was a coach of Lawrence Taylor as a D coordinator with the Giants in the 80s. So, I say arguably, but as a coach, as a head coach, probably Tom Brady and Gronk. At least on the offensive side of the ball. Defensive side of the ball, you can give me Vince Wilfork, Rodney Harrison, Ty Law. I mean, you can give me a lot, but to me, it's Tom Brady and Gronk. To have him as a mind, as an analyst, I would love to hear, because he would also give praise to the players doing it, and I would love for him to break down a Mahomes game or a Lamar or even like a Puka Nacua, or because he loves his skill players as well. He loves D-Hop. He's expressed his love for Randy Moss even before he was on his team. Calvin Johnson. So he loves the history of the game. He's a historian of the game. So I love all that. So if he goes to TV, cool. Now, he's going to battle if they are thinking, even though the Commanders said, no, we're not thinking of Bill Belichick. If we are thinking here that for some reason the Schneider family, who's controlling the hiring process after Pete Carroll was let go, if we're thinking the Schneider family was going to possibly go to Bill, or maybe a Frabes, which I think Frabes would be a great hire for that team. Toughness is the same as Pete Carroll. Gritty, built from the trenches out. The weapons are there. The tackling will be better. It would be a great hire. But if they want to go young, they could go Mike McDonald from the Ravens. They just held the Chiefs to 17 and 0 in the second half. So he's a pretty good defensive coordinator. He had a historic defense this year. Or if you want to go offense, you can go Ben Johnson. Had the Lions up 17 at halftime. Almost went to the Super Bowl. And had a prolific offense this year. And he's going to have weapons there with DK and JSN, Lockett, Kenneth Walker, So, whichever one you decide to hire, I'm okay with. Whether it's Frabes, which I think would be the best, or Mike McDonald or Ben Johnson. For the Commanders, you need a guy on the offensive side of the ball. And the reason I say this is because the defensive side of the ball, you already gutted. You already gutted that part of the ball. It's scary hours over there of how empty that defense is. So I would rather have an offensive coach that will give me some explosive plays, since I have a guy like Scary Terry, Jahan Dotson, Curtis Samuel, Robinson. That's just my personal opinion. All right. Two other hires. Vic Fangio hired at the Eagles. We talked about this last week. He should get those boys playing better. He's one of the best D coordinators in the league. He should get him tackling better. He should get him covering better. On the offensive side of the ball. Kellen Moore. Coming from the Chargers to the Eagles. Now he's pass happy. So what does that mean? Jalen Hurts better not be thinking this when he's staring at the rush. Okay? It better not be this in his head when he's staring at the rush. Okay? You can't stare at the rush with a Kellen Moore offense. You're going to have to go through your progressions, look up, and forget the rush. You got to feel the rush. You got to have that instinct. So we'll see what happens there. Do I think they'll play better than what they did this year and the absolute cluster F that they had this year on the offensive side of the ball, barely getting explosive plays? Yes. Now that NFC is going to be better. Okay? Let's go through the standings of the NBA a little bit. Oh, one more thing. We're going to cover in this podcast as well. I'm a big racing fan. Whether it's F1, IMSA, NASCAR, NHRA, I love all that. Okay, and I watched the Daytona 24 this past weekend with my dad, and I want to give a shout out to Team Penske and Team Porsche for winning their first Daytona 24 overall since 1969. Roger Penske is an absolute staple in racing. If any guys know about IndyCar, he is the owner of the IndyCar racing series, as well as the owner of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, which holds the greatest spectacle in racing, the Indianapolis 500. He has 19 Indianapolis 500 victories as an owner. He has also 19 Rolexes victories at the Rolex 24. But it's his first overall number one place since 1969 with Porsche. And it was a great race, super exciting, and it's incredible how you have a 24-hour continuous race and the margins of victory are seconds. And last year, they were tenths of a second. It's really amazing what engineering could do in the automobile industry, what these engines and hybrid units have done. And it's just really exciting racing. It's the best drivers in the world from all walks of life, whether it's F1, V8 supercars in Australia, Super GT in Japan, IndyCar, NASCAR, sports cars overseas in Britain. It's incredible. It's incredible to see. And I love it. We're going to have the Daytona 500 here in a few weeks. We're going to cover that too. But we're going to cover racing in this channel. And when F1 starts, we're going to cover F1 as well. Let's move on to the NBA. We talked a little bit about the scoring outburst of Luka and Embiid and Book. We talked about the Lakers and Golden State. But if we look at these standings, right? If we look at these standings, let's go, Boston 35-11. Guys, at this point, what I'm seeing from Boston against the best teams in the NBA, it's happened twice now. At home both times. Against the Denver Nuggets and against the Clippers. They can get locked up and they can get scored on. Okay? The Clippers dominated that game. And that's why it was kind of a blowout at the end. Because regardless of how great you think Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are, they're not as efficient on both sides of the ball as Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. They're just not. Derek White is not a better point guard than James Harden. And whoever they got coming off the bench is not better than, the combination of Norman Powell and Russell Westbrook or Terrence Mann. And, to see the true flaws of this Boston Celtics team. Remember, they were first last year. Milwaukee was. They were second, but it was close. And they didn't get it done. They're first this year. 3 games above the Milwaukee Bucks. And yeah, they blew out people. They blew out the Miami Heat. We're going to talk about the Heat because my friends are livid about how the Heat are operating. And to some extent, I am too. But sometimes they get hot. And in the regular season, hey, it happens. You can get hot. Get hot from 3. Against us, they shot 64%, highest field goal percentage of the season. They made 20 plus threes. I think they made 21 or 22. Most threes of the season. And we got blown out. Kept it close to a certain extent, and then we got blown out. Am I worried that that's going to repeat itself in the playoffs? No. Because in the playoffs, all the calls that you're getting, you ain't going to get them. The soft defense that you're getting from most teams because they have to game plan for 3-4 more teams in the next 4 days, you ain't going to get that. You're going to get focused on again. And if you haven't worked on that left-hand dribble, Jaylen Brown, if you haven't worked on those turnovers, Jason Tatum, they're going to rear their ugly head again. Okay? At this point, I don't care what they do in the regular season. This is just like the Cowboys in the NFL. I do not care what you do in the regular season. What are you going to show me postseason? Because your window has been, very wide for the last few years, and you haven't gotten it done. You let Curry steal it out of your hands. You're up 2-1, and then you let, the baby-faced assassin murder you. In cold blood at your own house. And then you let Jimmy go into your house and Caleb Martin and Kevin Love and Bam and walk you down 3-0. And you come back, because we let our foot off the gas and you get a lucky Derek White shot to force Game 7, and then you get embarrassed at home in Game 7. Okay? So unless you show me in the playoffs that you have that same mentality that you have in the regular season, I'm going to think that you're the Dallas Cowboys. Plain and simple. Regardless if you're number 1, if you have the best record, if you have the best point differential, all that shit. I don't care. Hey, I'm going to laugh at all that. Okay? Because when the dogs come out, when you're really facing some dogs, when you face the Knicks, who don't bullshit, when you face Embiid, maybe he's a little bit way more focused this year and healthy. When you face a Giannis, there ain't no messing around. Ain't no bullshit around there. It's put up or shut up. All right, you're gonna build the wall? Well, all right. Well, we got Damian Lillard. Oh, you're gonna build the wall? Well, Robin Lopez. Beasley. You want to shoot? We can shoot. But we could also drive it down your throat. That's what happens in the playoffs. The physicality of the game goes up, the finesse goes out, and the real dogs are the ones who survive. Okay? The guys that are built for it, mentally and physically. We ain't looking out here for calls. You ain't looking out here for refs, help me. Nah, that's out the window, man. It's all about who dogs are. Okay? Luka, dog. Giannis, dog. You know what I'm saying? Jimmy, dog. Jalen Brunson, dog. You get what I'm saying? That's what really shines in the playoffs. You can have your 30-point game, your 40-point game in a game 2 and stuff like that. If you can't sustain that, you got a problem. Especially if you make it to the land of the finals and you face a dog on the other side. And most likely, you're going to face a dog that already has a ring. Because it's going to be the Clippers, it's going to be the Nuggets, and they all have rings. Kawhi has a ring. That's the leader of the Clippers. All of Denver has rings. You know what I'm saying? Coaches with rings. You get what I'm saying? With experience, building teams, getting far, winning. That's what you're going to face. Okay? So that's it for Boston from me. Milwaukee, 3 games back, 7-3 in their last 10. They're kind of rolling. Boston's 7-3 in their last 10 too. Philadelphia, Embiid's fully back. He was a little sore. He didn't play against Denver. They had a good game without Tyrese, Tobias, and Embiid. They kept it close with Denver, and then Denver closed them out. They're 5 games back. They're 6-4 in their last 10. The Knicks. Hey, listen. At this point, I don't know what to say about the Knicks. They've lost twice since the OG Anunoby trade. Twice. Okay? OG Anunoby, they're 8-2 in the last 10. OG Anunoby is a 2-way player. And I saw this on Twitter, and I was kind of thinking to myself, because when I watch him play, it reminds me of him, a young him. Maybe like when he was at San Antonio. When he was at San Antonio those first few years. Kawhi. That's what OG reminds me of. The way he plays defense, his length, the way he moves, the way he shoots, where he picks his spots, it reminds me of a young Kawhi. Now, I'm not putting the pressure of Kawhi on OG. I'm just saying the style of play, it looks like he's taken a lot from Kawhi. The fundamentally sound, lumbering, but still kind of knowing what he's doing, and shoots a good clip from 3, defends his ass off, and helps Jalen Brunson be Jalen Brunson. Okay? It's no secret why Jalen Brunson the last 10 or 9 games have had either 9 or 10 30-point games. That's because of OG taking the pressure off him on the offensive side of the ball. Julius Randle, dislocated shoulder. Me and my dad saw it. We immediately knew that it was dislocated. You don't put your hand down when you're falling down. You turn and you hit your back. You rather hit your back or your shoulder, especially when you're that big, than put your hand on the ground and put compression on that shoulder joint. You don't do that. Okay? Cleveland, 8-1 in their last 10. Guys, they still don't have no Darius Garland and no Evan Mobley. This is all Donovan Mitchell. By the way, I think Jalen Brunson was snubbed, I believe, from a starter spot in the Eastern Conference All-Star team. They gave it to Damian. Hey, I respect it. But if you look at numbers-wise, they're 4th. He's carrying a little bit more of the load. He has Giannis. You can make an argument that Jalen Brunson should have gotten the starting job. But the fans was the tiebreaker. And, of course, Dame is going to win that. So, Cleveland, 5th seed. 6.5 games back. The Knicks are 6 games back. 6.5 games back with just Donovan Mitchell. When you're putting out there Craig Porter Jr., Max Strus, Isaac Okoro, Karis LeVert. 5th in the East is pretty impressive. Got to give them their props. Indiana. Pascal starting to find his footing. And just in time, too, because Woj reported today that Tyrese might be making his return tomorrow. I need to see the Tyrese and Pascal connection. I also need to see if they're going to allow Benedict Mathurin to keep developing. I believe Benedict Mathurin could become the full-time shooting guard for this team and score well above 20. I believe he has that type of talent, athleticism. He can play defense. He can get even better at playing defense. He's very young. I like Obi Toppin. I like Buddy Hield, of course. He's one of the best percentage-wise 3-point shooters of all time. So I like what that team, Jalen Smith and Miles Turner. So I like what that team, Nemhard. I like what that team has. They're 6th in the East. Tyrese coming back. Maybe they make a push after the All-Star to try to get into those, I don't know, top 4 maybe. They're 8.5 back right now, so 2 games behind Cleveland for 5. And then if you get to 5, the Knicks are only 1 away. Philly's only 1 away. So you can get to 3 if you go on a run. Miami, number 7. 3-7 in their last 10. We've lost 6 in a row. This is something very annoying to me because I've seen it for so long. Remember, we were a 7th seed last year. We lost the playing game to Atlanta. And then we beat the Bulls to become the 8th seed. We are 11 games back. So that 6th seed is looking farther and farther away. And the thing that's most annoying to me is that our stars do not have the mentality of stars. But Les, what do you mean by that? How are you Jimmy Butler and you're taking 13 shots a game? A superstar in this league takes 20 to 25. Oh, but he's playing the right way, getting rebounds and putbacks and everything. We need scoring in the half court. And you taking 13 shots a game is not going to help us. We're putting too much on Tyler Hero, and he's not being efficient. We're putting too much on Duncan Robinson, and sometimes he's cold. We got Terry Rozier. He's not being efficient right now. I think that he will work his way into the rotation and build a nice rhythm for himself. But we are one of the worst half-court creating teams in the league. But then we're also one of the best transition teams in the league. So we always play off our defense. Well, guess what? If the defense doesn't work for a quarter and we get a 18-2 blitzed, we have no way of coming back unless we play great defense and somehow score on the other end. We have zero half-court creation. Look at every Miami possession at half court when it's against a set defense. Tell me what offense we are running. Tell me how many times open shots are being passed up by Jimmy, Hero, Duncan, Terry, Kevin, Caleb. We're taking contested middies. Bam. Bam rather take a fadeaway jumper from 8 feet out instead of using his athleticism and literally just laying the ball up. Jimmy, instead of working on his jump shot, so he becomes like a Kawhi Leonard, DeMar DeRozan-esque type of jump shooter, even if it's just from 2, from the mid-range. No, I'm going to take 2 jump shots a game, maybe max 5, maybe 2 threes if I'm wide open, or maybe it's a grenade, and I'm going to work on getting putbacks and using the post a little bit. Nah, bro. Nah, because with that mindset, even though you turn it up in the playoffs, we're getting bounced. Okay? We're getting bounced. We can't expect Giannis to get hurt again. I mean, we have a little bit of a mental edge over the Boston Celtics because we put them down 3-0 and we beat them at their house. But if you expect Embiid on the type of mindset that he's on, that he wants a championship and that's all he cares about, if you expect Embiid to play like that, you're sadly mistaken. Everybody that we have to face, Boston, Milwaukee, Philadelphia, New York, Cleveland, Indiana, shit, even Orlando. can score in the half court. Why? Because they have stars or superstars. Boston, one of the best efficient half-court teams. Milwaukee, efficient half-court offense. Philadelphia, one of the most efficient half-court offenses. New York is where you get a little shaky because it's Brunson, Randall, and now OG. So it's getting better, but it's still kind of clunky. Indiana, best offense in the NBA, especially when Tyrese is back. And Orlando has Paolo and Franz, which are two great half-court creators. So I don't understand why Spo, why Chris Quinn, why Pat Riley, Zoe, Udonis is not telling Jimmy, hey, you have to be a volume scorer. I know you haven't done it your whole career, but guess what? You have to, morph. You have to get better. You have to understand your role and what is asked of you as a superstar. Regardless if you're 33 years old, I don't care. Bam, take more ownership on the scoring end. Get to the rim. You're 6'9", borderline 6'10", jumping 40 inches. Get to the rim. Stop taking turnaround jumpers from 8 feet. That shit don't fly in the playoffs. You missed all of those in the finals, and we lost the finals because you couldn't hit a jump shot from 8 foot. Couldn't finish at the rim. Tyler Hero, 2 shots at the rim. Unacceptable. I need you to drive. Drive to the basket. You're a crafty finisher. You need to drive. If not, get fouled. Plain and simple. I don't understand what we're doing, we're going to run out the clock. 24-second violation because we couldn't get a shot or nobody wants to take a shot. Everybody's popping the ball, and nobody wants to take ownership of the shot. We're not getting nowhere like that. Plain and simple. And I'm a Miami Heat fan. We're not getting nowhere like that. Nowhere. Okay? You might think, playoff Jimmy will turn it on. Well, playoff Jimmy will turn it on, and we still got to face Dame, Giannis, Joel, Tyrese Maxey, Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle, Tyrese Halliburton, Wes Pascal, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? You know how much we're scoring? We're scoring 110.5 points a game. That is awful for this NBA. Awful. You want to know how much the Indiana Pacers are scoring? 122.8. 122.8. Okay? No, 124.8. Excuse me. They're allowing 122.8. How much are the Cleveland scoring? 114. New York, 115.4. Philadelphia, 118.5. Milwaukee, 124.4. Boston, 120.3. We're scoring 110. What are we doing? 110, 105. What are we doing? What are we doing with that? Nothing. We're not doing shit with that. That shit will only go down in the playoffs. Unless we hit another shooting streak that we shoot from 40% from 3 and Jamal Cain and Jaime, turn into these gods. But right now we ain't doing shit. 6 in a row. We could have stopped the Knicks. It was a winnable game to stop their what they have right now. They have a 6-game winning streak. Could have stopped that. Could have gotten a little bit closer. We're 11 and a half games back. 11 games back of number 1. We have to chase Indiana. They're 8.5 back. That's without Tyrese the last, 3 weeks. So it's looking ugly. It's looking ugly. Orlando, number 8, 11 back 2. They can pass us up. They got Franz back. They're 3-7 in their last 10 as well. But they're a young team, so I'm not really worried about them. They could get hot. Paolo could get hot. Franz could get hot, and they could get back rolling. Chicago, 13.5 back. Okay, they're a little bit more separated. They're 6-4 in their last 10. Atlanta made it to the 10th spot, knocking out Brooklyn. 16 game back. They're 4-6 in their last 10. Brooklyn can score but can't win. It's literally the story of their season. 3-7 in their last 10. Now, if I mention how many points a game these people are scoring, you ready? Watch this. This is going to amaze you guys because this is embarrassing, to be honest. Orlando, 111.3. We're at 110.5, that being the Miami Heat. Chicago, 110.9. Atlanta, 120.2. Brooklyn, 113.3. Toronto, 114.4. Lower than us is Charlotte. Washington is higher than us, 115.1. And even Detroit is higher than us at 112.4. We have one of the worst offenses in the league. Oh, but the defense will get us right. No! In order to win an NBA championship, Michael won in the half court. Steph Curry won in the half court. LeBron won in the half court. Kobe won in the half court. Jokic won in the half court. Giannis won in the half court. That's how you win championships. Because the whole game is not going to be in transition. That's what was wrong with the Lakers last year against the Nuggets. When it came to half court offense, the Nuggets were the most efficient team in the playoffs. And the Lakers were not. The Lakers ran their whole offense and were built off a transition off of defensive stops. That's what we're doing. Instead of telling, hey, if you don't want to tell Jimmy to take 20 shots a game, tell Hyman. Tell Tyler Hero. Shit, tell Terry Rozier. 20 shots a game. At least 15. At least. Please. Just get shots up. Get to the rim and get fouled. Because right now, the way that we're going offensively, we ain't going nowhere. Okay? Even if we make it to the playoffs. We ain't going nowhere. And I love Jimmy. And I know playoff Jimmy is real. He's going to turn it on. But have you noticed that from the round 1 to round 2 to the Eastern Conference Finals to the finals, his PPG went down every single time? And don't give me the bullshit about his ankle was turned against the Knicks and all that, because he still averaged 27 that series. But it went down in the Eastern Conference Finals, and then it went down in the finals. So playoff Jimmy also has a gaslight. And it's gone E multiple times. It happened in the bubble as well. So if we don't have supplemental scoring from that, we ain't going nowhere. Especially against the East this year. Toronto, they're just treading water with Scotty Barnes. Charlotte, Brandon Miller showing some signs of superstardom a little bit, of actual stardom, of being able to put the ball in the basket, be a self-creator, slashing, defensive instincts. What he showed at Alabama, what he showed coming out of the draft, he's showing a bit, but they're going to have to do something there. They got to move somebody. Miles Bridges, move somebody. Hayward, because you guys can't win. You guys are 2-10, 2-8 in your last 10. Lost 3 in a row. You know, Toronto's lost 5 in a row. You know, Washington, that's a lost cause. I think they're getting rid of Poole. They might get rid of, I mean, they should blow up the whole thing and just keep Bilal Coulibaly and just start over. Detroit won against OKC. Impressive win. Cade came back. 3-7 in their last 10. Still haven't gotten to 10 wins. 6-40. Yeah. I don't know what they're going to do. But it's still sad over there. The West, the most competitive freaking conference. OKC. Still number 1, tied with Minnesota. They both lost their last games. One 7-3. OKC's 7-3. They lost to Detroit. And Minnesota lost to Wemby after being up. Wemby walked them down. They're 6-4 in the last 10. The Clippers are only 1 game back in 3rd. Denver is half a game back in fourth. But since the Clippers, I think, hold the tiebreaker, they're above Denver, but Denver's only a half game back. They're 7-3 in their last 10. Clippers are 8-2. And then you got Sacramento, and then you got Phoenix, 26-20, 7-3 in their last 10, but have lost their last 2. Sacramento has won their last 3. They're 5-5 in their last 10, and they got back to 5. New Orleans has dropped a little bit to 7, 6 game back, tied with Phoenix. Dallas is 8th. They're 7 games back. The Lakers are 9th, 8.5 games back by the help of the referees. Utah is 8.5 games back. They're 10th, tied with the Lakers. 7-3 in their last 10. Lakers are 6-4 in their last 10 since the lineups change. Dallas is struggling a little bit. They're at 4-6. New Orleans at 5-5. Lost their last 2. Phoenix has lost their last 2. Houston, they're 3-7 in their last 10. They're 11th, 10.5 games back. Thing about Houston, I keep seeing, guys, Cam Whitmore put his emphasis on the game. Whether it's slashing and dunking, whether it's shooting threes, whether it's off the dribble, whether it's in defense. At some point or another, Ime Udoka has to look at Jalen Green and be like, hey, kid, thank you for your service, but we're going to send you out because we got this kid that we got at the 20th pick, and he was going to be our fourth pick. And for whatever reason, he fell to 20, and we took him after we took Amen Thompson. I think it's time. You're an 11th seed. You got really nothing to lose. I'm serious. You got nothing to lose. I think you play the kid the rest of the season. I think you start him. You make him the focal point of the offense with Alfred Şengün. You run pick and rolls with him and see what happens. And you look for a trade for Jalen Green. Maybe you get a first-round pick for him because of the scoring. The efficiency is obviously not there, but maybe you send him somewhere, I don't know, send him to Miami. Maybe we can make something of him. Who needs some scoring coming off? Maybe Phoenix. I mean, that'd be weird. The Lakers will probably ask for him. Golden State, maybe, because they like their skinny guards. Maybe Memphis to just add to what they got. Maybe you send them to Washington, let him play with we'll probably sit Tyus Jones, and it'd be him and Poole. Toronto, Atlanta, Chicago. I mean, Cleveland. You could send them anywhere. Anywhere. Even New York, the Knicks, even though he plays no defense. Get him out of there. Start Cam Whitmore. Okay? You have a legit star there. All you have to do is cultivate it. I don't understand what the hesitancy is. You're 11th in the West. The little dream run that you had at the beginning of the season, that shit's over. Kaput. Start Cam Whitmore. Stop playing him off the bench. The kid is giving you 17 off the bench. 11 off the bench. If you start him, that shit will turn into 20 or 20 plus. He'll get more efficient. He'll start learning his spots on the floor. He's a good slasher. He's a hell of an athlete. And he'll give you way more defensive versatility than what Jalen Green gives you. With probably better efficiency from all sides of the floor. And he can go to the rim. And he's not going to get bumped off his spot in the air because he's a great finisher. And he could go to the line. That's just my personal opinion. I love Cam Whitmore. Golden State 18-24 or 19-24, 11.5 games back. This thing's over. Kuminga's playing great. Curry dropped 46. But this team is pretty dead in the water at this point. Their defense doesn't work. We'll see if Draymond gets back into a groove here. Clay is off. Wiggins is off. Kuminga's showing life. So is Pajinski. But with the amount of talent in this Western Conference, and every game in, game out, you're being in shootouts and in clutch games, it's going to tire them out, and they're not going to recover. Memphis, Gigi Jackson, got to start him. Same thing with Cam Whitmore. Got to start him. Youngest player in the league. Guy's showing that he can shoot the three. He has length to play defense. He can cut. He seems like he can pass. Pretty smart player for his age. I think you have a better shot, winning games by starting him. Portland. Portland. I don't understand. I mean, Shaden Sharp has been hurt. Maybe when he gets back, it looks better. Anthony Simons is playing his tail off. I think you should get rid of Jeremy Grant, get something back for him. Maybe another young player or some draft capital. I think you should start Chris Murray and start developing him like his brother, like Keegan. I like Tumani Kamara. But they ain't going nowhere. And San Antonio won their last 2, 4-6 in their last 10. Wemby is finally playing. It looks like he's figuring it out on the offensive side of the floor. He just did a sham guard that was nasty. That's 7'3", almost 7'5" to do that is incredible. He's shooting the three better than he was at the beginning of the season. It looks like he's finding his spots. They're playing Tyus Jones at the 1. It's helping him. He's playing great defense, leading the league in blocks. Him and Chet are going back and forth right now. He's had a couple 30-point games. So he's playing well. They have 10 wins. They're not going nowhere, but it's exciting to watch him. Let's get to the meat and potatoes of this episode, my ladies and gentlemen. The AFC and NFC championship. We went 1-1. Hey, listen. I'm not mad that I went 1-1. Quite on the contrary, to be honest. Quite on the contrary, I'm elated because I love watching greatness. Yeah, we're gonna go Kansas City, Baltimore first. I love watching greatness, and what Mahomes, Kelsey, Andy Reid, Steve Spagnuolo, and Chris Jones, and you could throw in Matt Nagy there, but Bieniemy was the offensive coordinator for a couple of those years as well, have done in 6 years is absolutely something that you cannot take for granted. This is the sport of NFL football, professional football. Okay? Going to 4 Super Bowls in a span of 6 years, and those 6 years being the first 6 years that your quarterback is starting, is absolutely unheard of. Absolutely unheard of. Okay? What we're seeing is something that you cannot take for granted. You can't just say, just another Mahomes play. Another Kelsey touchdown. No. Because this doesn't happen. It hasn't happened. So let's dive into it. Kansas City beats Baltimore 17-10. That was the halftime score, guys. That was it. All the scoring was the first quarter and the beginning of the second quarter. The first quarter and then a field goal at the end of the half by the Kansas City Chiefs. That was all the scoring that there was. That was it. Why? Because these were the top 2 defenses in the AFC. Top 2 scoring defenses in the league all year. So it was gonna be on the defenses. Who was gonna let the big play happen? Who was going to make the big mistake on offense? If we look at the box score before we get to my breakdown, because I wrote it down. If we look at the box score, 17-10 says, not a lot of scoring. But those are a lot of big plays. Okay? Those are a lot of big plays. Let's go with Baltimore first. I'll get into Mahomes a little bit later. Baltimore. I am scratching my head right now because what you guys did was a bad joke. You guys ran the ball Total carries for the team, 16 carries. Total carries for your running backs, 6. 6 carries? What are we doing, dude? You guys are the leading rushing team in the league, have the most rushing attempts in the league. We get to the biggest moment at home, number 1 seed. And because they score first, because we're going to talk about that, and because Kansas City score first, and you get no yards the first run play that you do after they score, you shy away from the run and you force Lamar to throw 37 times. When has that worked? And it's not like Lamar ran either. He ran for 54 yards and he should have ran for a lot more. He had 8 carries for 54 yards, should have ran for a lot more. A lot more. There was lanes for him to run. They played a lot of man coverage. And he didn't. He wanted to show that he can throw. Lamar. Regardless of what you think and you've heard in the media through your playoff woes. Oh, he can't pass. He's too much of a runner. Well, guess what, bro? Guess what got you in the league, Lamar? Your legs. Your arm to some extent, but it was your legs. Your legs are generational legs. You have Hall of Fame running back legs. Speed, agility, quickness, start and stop. Every single aspect of your running ability is elite. Use it. But I want to prove that I can pass. No. Todd Monken. What are you doing? What type of game plan was this? You run the ball all year. You established the run all year to set up the play action pass, and now you don't run the ball. You're at home. You don't run the ball. The game was close the whole game. The whole game was close. And you got 3 big plays, 2 to Zay Flowers. That's it. That's all you got. You run the ball for 15 yards on your first 2 running plays. After you get stopped on first down, you run a little crack toss, get 15 with Gus Edwards. And then you just never run it again. Never use Gus Edwards again. Never use Justice Hill again. And you tried to pass your way to beating Mahomes. That's not going to happen. You didn't respect this defense, Monken. You didn't. You didn't respect the defense. You thought you could throw on this defense. On this all-pro secondary. McDuffie. L'Jarius Sneed. Joshua Williams. Mike Edwards, he got hurt. Deion Bush. We'll talk about him a little later. What are we doing? Their best linebacker that they were going to put as a spy on you is not playing, and you don't run the ball. Willie Gay. He's not playing, and you don't run the ball. I don't understand it. Game plan mismanagement. Let me repeat that again. For you guys that sometimes like listen to me and I sound too technical and geniusy. Game plan mismanagement. Going away from what you've been doing all year and what has made you successful all year. We've run all year, let's pass. We've run Lamar, let's not. The few times he did run, big gains. Don't do it. I'm going to tell you why. They ran the ball for 81 yards. Abysmal. Lamar went 20 for 37, 272. A touchdown and a pick. 4 sacks for 17 yards. They were big sacks. Zay Flowers was the only guy over 50 yards receiving. 5 receptions, 115 on 8 targets. And the touchdown of 54. Could have had 2. But he cut back. Watch the play. He catches the ball. He's running inside. Cuts outside and had the angle. And he has the speed to make it to the pylon. And then he cuts back inside again. Gets tackled. And then taunts L'Jarius Sneed. gets a 15-yard penalty. And then the next play, karma bites him in the ass because he extends the ball after he has a first down on second down at the 1, and L'Jarius Sneed hits the ball out, touchback. Could have been 14-17 right there. Big difference going into the fourth quarter, down by 3 instead of down by 7. Okay? Big difference. Okay? Stop stretching out the ball if it's not fourth down. You didn't learn from McCole Hardman last week? You had the first, not even the first down, guys. If he would have tucked it like a normal receiver going down, the way he jumped, he was going to make it into the end zone. He was already in the air. He already had the first down. All he needed was half a yard in the air, and he would have been a touchdown. Reach out the ball. L'Jarius Sneed with a wonderful play, not giving up, defending every single blade of grass. Gotta give it up. Gotta give it up. Nelson Aguilar, 1 catch for 39 yards. Justice Hill, 4 catches, 34 yards. Odell Beckham Jr., 3 catches, 22 yards on 6 targets. Justice Hill had 7 targets. Nelson Aguilar had 3 targets. Isaiah Likely, 3 targets. He's taking you there. The half of the last 4 or 5 games, 3 targets. You get Mark Andrews back, you throw him twice for 15 yards. And then Lamar with the ricochet off the helmet, he catches his ball and he catches a 13-yard pass to himself. And you throw to Rashad Bateman 3 times, he catches 1 for 2 yards. Bad. Okay? Let's go to the Chiefs. Before we get to my breakdown and we really break this down mentally. Mahomes, 30 for 39, 241. Another non-300-yard game in the playoffs. 1 touchdown. No picks. First time he got sacked in the last 2 postseasons. 2 sacks for 11 yards. Isaiah Pacheco. Andy Reid is the definition of knowing what he has and using it even though it's not technically giving him good results. Isaiah Pacheco, 24 carries. 24. The Ravens gave their running back 6. 24 carries, 68 yards, 2.8 yards a carry, 1 touchdown. What does 24 carries to your running back do to that defense? Keeps them honest. The play action comes. Oh, shit. They've ran the ball 24 times. They're going to bite on the play fake. Okay? Game plan mastery. We're going to talk about this later, about what this game actually was and how this game could have been a lot worse. Okay? Isaiah Pacheco, 24 for 68 and a touchdown. Patrick Mahomes, 6 for 15. Big 15. Big 15 yards. Okay? Travis Kelce. He's old. He don't have it no more. He should retire. He's the greatest tight end of all time. Him and Patrick Mahomes are the greatest duo of all time, passing Jerry Rice and Montana and Gronk and Tom Brady. This game, he passed Jerry Rice for the most receptions by any receiver in the history of the postseason in the NFL. Okay? This is stuff that does not happen. We're watching GOATs at work. Appreciate it. 11 receptions on 11 targets. We didn't drop nothing. And there were tough catches. Nothing. Every opportunity was gold. Have to have every single one. Yeah, Taylor Swift was in the stands. Yeah, they kissed after the game. Proud of him. Proud of him. Shouting all the doubters wrong. He's showing that he's still one of the greats and the greatest of his position. All right? 11 targets, 11 receptions, 116, and a touchdown. And the touchdown was demoralizing. Why? First drive of the game. You know the Chiefs were going to defer if they won it, and they did. They you know, you knew they were going to get the ball first because they wanted to score first. Okay? They wanted to put that pressure on Baltimore. Okay? All right. So what happens? Simple. Rashee Rice, 8 for 46, 9 targets. Okay. Would have been more, though. We're going to talk about that. MVS, 2 for 38. 2 of the biggest catches of the game. Guess what? Only on 2 targets. That means no drops. That means 0 drops. You know how many drops this game had? 0. No drops. Okay? Except Richie James. I think Richie dropped one in the first half, his only target. When Mahomes had completed 10 or 11 passes in a row to start a game in the AFC Championship. That was also a record, I think, or something like that. Okay? Kelsey and Mahomes. In the first half, almost 100 yards. I think he had 98. I think he had 10 for 98 and a touchdown. When push comes to shove, when you're the defending champs, when you've been to the Super Bowl 3 times in the last 5 years and you've won 2, you go to your best players. Point blank, period. You go to the guys that taken you there. Over and over again, you put it in the hands of 15 and 87. That's it. And you tell the Ravens, guard him. Try to. We're going to give him the ball. We're going to get him open. Try to guard him. Didn't happen. That touchdown, Kyle Hamilton had such great coverage on that pass. Such great coverage on Kelsey. There was one spot that Patrick Mahomes could put that ball. Guess where he put it? Back hip. Back shoulder, back hip. Beautiful adjustment by Kelsey. Boom, 7-0. Already putting the pressure and taking the crowd off out of the game. But let's talk about the real people that won this game. Mahomes was great. So was Kelsey. So was Andy Reid and Matt Nagy's play calling. But this was an absolute coaching mismatch. This was coaching mastery. Okay? By the Kansas City Chiefs against that Baltimore staff. In every single aspect. Every single aspect. Tommy Townsend, great punts. Except a couple times that they were in short fields. Okay? The screen game. Working the run. Play calling against that zone defense. Dicing them up. The protection. First half, they didn't get touched. I told my dad, if you don't get to Mahomes, he will dice you up. He's done it his whole career. If you don't pressure him, he will dice you up. Exactly what happened. He had some amazing plays. The one to Kelsey when he was rolling around and buying 10 seconds of time, and he's almost getting sacked, and Kelsey catches it diving. He had some amazing plays. But it was mostly dicing people up. Him and Kelsey just playing backyard football because nobody could touch him. It was like 7-on-7. All right. Justin Watson had 1 for 16. That was a big one, actually. Pacheco caught 4 for 14. Noah Gray caught 2 for 6. Kyle Edwards-Helaire caught 2 for 3. But let's talk about the people who won this game. The defense. And now we're going to get to my actual breakdown. Okay? Pat Mahomes and Travis Kelce absolutely dominated and show why they are the most prolific duo in playoff history. There was no stopping him. Regardless of the season he had, when it gets to the postseason, these two are different. Okay? They're different. Andy Reid called his game and never panicked. Okay? And he leaned on, and also Mahomes said it after the game, that throughout the season he had to learn how to play to the defense, because the defense, once it gets rolling, all he has to do is not give a chance to the other team to get extra possessions, to just take care of the ball. If they have the lead and the defense is rolling, take care of the ball. That's it. Manage the game. Don't be Superman. That's the evolution of Mahomes. From Superman to game manager, but having both qualities and be able to activate them at all times. Andy Reid leaned on his Hall of Fame, first ballot Hall of Famer, defensive coordinator, Steve Spagnuolo. The same dude that shut down the Patriots twice in the Super Bowl. The guy who stopped the 17-0 season in 2007 with Michael Strahan and Justin Tuck and Antonio Pierce and Antrell Roll. You know, that was Tom Coughlin's defensive coordinator when they beat Brady twice. Okay? Hall of Fame defensive coordinator. Has the most appearances in the Super Bowl with this one. Just like as much as Dick LeBeau, the legendary Steelers DC. By the way, he has 4 rings. He's going for 5. He's going for 5 rings. Okay? That's what Andy Reid leaned on. He leaned on Spags to outwit John Harbaugh. That's what he did. To outwit Todd Monken. He was like, come to my neck of the woods. I've been here before. I've studied you. And he played to the strengths of his defense. Why? Because he understood that if you, with the offense scoring first and applying pressure to score, every time they got the ball, that they were going to give up on the run. He was betting that Todd Monken and Harbaugh were going to give up on the run. So he sold out and brought pressure anytime he could to pressure Lamar into throwing bad passes. And Lamar was rattled. Lamar's clock went up, especially when Omenihu, before he got hurt, caused a strip fumble. Look at turnovers this game. Turnovers are 3-1, 3-0. The strip fumble, the fumble by Zay Flowers, and the pick by Lamar. That should have never gotten. He should have never even thrown that ball. I'm gonna break that down a little bit later. You know what I'm saying? Chris Jones. Besides Aaron Donald, he's the best interior lineman. And he's one of the best in history. Period. Especially in the postseason. A menace. Destroyed the guard. Destroyed him. Anytime you put him inside, destroyed him. Put him outside, made Ronnie Stanley look like a fool. Got a holding call on him. You know what I'm saying? And the stickiness of this secondary. Joshua Williams, L'Jarius Sneed should have been an All-Pro. First team All-Pro McDuffie, the second-year player out of Washington. You get what I'm saying? Nick Bolton, Leo Chenal, second-year player. Young defense. Chris Jones is basically the elder statesman. Karlaftis, good rush. They stopped the run, and they sold out blitzing all game, and Lamar never took off. Lamar had room to run, and he wanted to prove that he could pass, and he looked, and nobody was open. Sack. 3rd and 1, he's looking downfield when he had open grass. That's what happened. Spags challenged the game plan by the Ravens and guessed right. He's known as a ballsy DC when it comes to blitzes, when it comes to risk. But most of the time he's right. That's why he has 4 rings. You get what I'm saying? Zay Flowers, Jadeveon Clowney, Kyle Van Noy, and Roquan Smith. Listen, I'm going to say this so you guys understand as football people, okay? People that have watched football and know the inner workings of some of these divisions, how they've been created, the cultures that have perforated in each division. The AFC North is known for hard-hitting football. Steelers, Ravens, and Browns. And now the Bengals to some extent. But Steelers and Ravens are founded on, their foundation is physicality. But there's a line. And the Steelers and Ravens have always walked that line. The line between physicality and dumb shit. Physicality, mental mistakes. Physicality, frustration. And what you saw from Zay Flowers, Davion Clowney, Kyle Van Noy, and Roquan Smith was the crossing of that line. Plain and simple. Zay Flowers taunting L'Jarius Sneed after the catch. You cost Lamar 15 yards. You fumble on the next play. At the 1. Jadeveon Clowney. They just have a great punt. They're stuck at like the 10 or 5 yard line. And you give Mahomes a free 15 with a roughing the passer. And a clear one. You hit him right under the chin, lowered your head, no defense. So it's not like the refs wanted it. No, that was a clear foul. Kyle Van Noy. Mahomes is running up the pocket. You raise your arm. Boom. Hit him straight dead in the face. Straight dead in the face. Roughing the passer. 15 yards. Back-to-back plays. Okay? Back-to-back plays. And Roquan gets a 15-yarder. Why? Because he gets baited by Kelsey to do it. And Kelsey doesn't retaliate. No, Roquan retaliates. Boom. 15 yards. It was somewhat in that order. I believe that Kyle Van Noy was the one that retaliated against Kelsey. Roquan was the one that hit Mahomes. And Jadeveon lowered his head. 15-yard penalties. Personal fouls kill you against a guy like Patrick Mahomes. You cannot give this guy room. You cannot give Andy Reid room to run the offense. You have him pinned, have him thinking of the rush because he doesn't want to get sacked in the end zone, and you give him a free 30 yards on back-to-back plays to get him out of the end zone and let him be comfortable. Can't do that. Zay Flowers. First of all, you should have never cut back inside. You had the touchdown angle. And you cut back inside. L'Jarius Sneed brings you down. And then you stand over him. Why? Why? Lack of discipline. Me and my dad were looking at it like, what are we doing? This is the AFC Championship game. This ain't no regular season game. Mistakes in this game, you play double, sometimes triple. Okay, and that's what happened. You know? You want to taunt Zay? Well, guess what? The same guy that you taunted, boom, made you cause a fumble that caused a touchback. You see how that happens? Can't do that. Can't do that. Lamar, listen, man, you got to run the ball. If nothing's open, run. That's why you got your legs. Let's talk about the fact that this game should have been way worse. Oh, Velez, but how? Guys, Do you realize that the holding penalty against Trey Smith was on a first down play? That would have been a first down. You know that the next play, remember, it was a Pat Mahomes run for a first down? You remember that? I think to get him to like the 5. The next play, after the 10-yard penalty, it was a screen pass perfectly called by Andy Reid. And Rashee Rice takes it to the crib. Holding on Trey Smith, back-to-back plays. This game should have been that close. It shouldn't have been that close. Plain and simple. The Kansas City Chiefs showed why they are the defending champs. They played poised, disciplined, and game plan specific football. They didn't do too much. They didn't try to be superheroes, but they made plays when they had to be made. Round of applause for the whole team. And Andy Reid has always been known to be ballsy as a play caller. You want to talk about ballsy? How about calling a shot on 3rd and 9 to finish the game? Made the Ravens call all their timeouts. 3rd and 9. If you get this first down, you kneel it and you win the game. If you don't get it, you got to punt it back and give Lamar, think like a minute something to try to go tie the game or win it with a 2-point conversion. And this man, with the hunch, they were pretty confident. He said it after the game that they were going to run 0 and send the house. That means jailbreak. For Mahomes and Andy Reid to all year defend Marquez Valdes-Scantling, all year, we trust in him. And he throws him a bomb on 3rd and 9, and Valdes-Scantling makes a great adjustment on the ball to finish the game. Storybook. A guy that got bashed all year. Drops here. And Mahomes just said, I should have thrown a better ball. Always taking it as a leader. Always taking it in stride. Never bashing his teammates. That's what champions do. Shout out to MVS. Okay? Last thing about this game that I want to say. The Kansas City Chiefs have first ballot Hall of Famers at 5 positions. First ballot. Not just Hall of Famers, first ballot. Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Chris Jones, Andy Reid, Steve Spagnuolo. First ballot Hall of Famers, and 3 of them are going to be considered for GOATs in their respective professions. Patrick at quarterback when it's all said and done. Kelce right now at tight end. Andy Reid at coach. And Spags as a DC. But mostly Andy Reid, Travis, and Mahomes. You don't see that, guys. You don't see that. That's rare. Okay? Rare. Very rare. To have 5 legends on one team for one goal for an extended period of time. Spags has been there since Mahomes' day 1. Andy has never even thought about leaving. Travis has never thought about leaving. Chris Jones, even with the holdout, got his shit done and went to work after week 1. That's rare. Okay? Really rare. Shout out to KC, baby. Shout out to KC. And for the Baltimore Ravens, good season, but this was your year. This was your year. If you wanted one, you had to get it this year. because KC will be better. The Chargers will be better. The Texans will be better. The Colts will be better. I don't know about Miami. Hopefully. The Bills will come back. I don't know what Denver's doing. Don't know what the Raiders are doing. But I know the Bengals will be back. You got a lot of competition. If you wanted to get one, it was this year. And you, instead of doing what you've done all year, you got scared. You let the pressure get tight at home. And when Mahomes and Kelsey stared you in the face, you blinked. You don't blink against the greats. That's what happened to the 6 guys that went against Jordan in the finals. They all blinked. They all lost. Simple as that. But yeah, Baltimore needs, I don't know, they might lose their defensive coordinator to one of these head coaching jobs. And to be honest, they just got to find a way to balance out in the playoffs. Balance the offense when you need it the most. Lamar has to run the line of being a running quarterback and also a passer. You can't go too much one way, too much another. You have to know when to run the football. You can't be stubborn. And another thing, the interception. You're at the 30-yard line. I think it was first or second down. No way that you throw that ball into triple coverage. And the only reason you threw that ball, and I know it wasn't because of the disguise of the secondary and you thought he was open. No, you saw Isaiah Likely do the mailbox. Like Randy Moss always said to Brady. The mailbox when he put his hands up saying, I'm open. And you believed the mailbox instead of looking at the defense. Because there was people underneath that you could have thrown it to. And gotten a chunk yards. But no, you went for the home run into triple coverage. And Deion Bush, after Mike Edwards got hurt, Deion Bush picks you off in the end zone. Taking adverse risk at the wrong time. What it is. It's what it is. You had chances and chances and chances to win this game. This was 17-10 at halftime. You're down 7. And nobody scored a point after halftime. Your defense held them up to 17. So your defense did the job that they have done all year. Your offense didn't come through. And that was because of Spags. So, shout out to KC. Next game. Lions 49ers. Ooh. What a game. I know some of you thought it was over by halftime. You're like, 24-7? Up 17? They're cooking? That being the Lions. But let's look at the box score first before we get to my breakdown. Let's look at the box score first before we get to my breakdown. Jared Goff. 25 for 41. 273. A touchdown, no picks. 2 sacks by Nick Bosa in the second half. Running. David Montgomery, 15 for 93 and a touchdown. Jahmyr Gibbs, 12 for 45 and a touchdown. Jamison Williams, 1 for 42 and the touchdown. That was the first touchdown of the game. A beautiful play, showing off his speed that he had at Alabama, finally coming into his own. I think that he'll be an amazing player next year. I think he'll really pop off next year. Guys, they ran for 29 carries, 182 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And 3 touchdowns. All in the first half. They were dominating. Laporta, 9 for 97, 13 targets. Amon-Ra, 7 for 87, 11 targets. Jameson Williams, 2 for 25, 3 targets. Josh Reynolds, we're going to talk about him, 1 for 25, 4 targets. Important 4. David Montgomery, 2 for 20. Jameer, 3 for 11 on 6 targets. Anthony Fisker, 1 for 8. Should have gotten 2 more yards. Stepped out of bounds at the wrong time. I think it was the first catch of the season. I told you this game was going to come down to, can the Detroit Lions hold defensively? Can they hold? And they held. But not enough. First drive of the game. The Lions can run. Give it to J-Mo. 3 plays. Boom. Touchdown. 7-0. Okay. Cool. Lions get the ball again. Touchdown. Montgomery. Lions get the ball again. Jahmyr Gibbs. Crazy run. Shook the defender out of his shoes. I believe it was Dre Greenlaw. Shook him out of his shoes. 21-7. Okay, field goal. 24-7 at halftime. Everybody's thinking this game's over. Everybody's thinking this game's over. But what I told my dad, I was like, you have to be careful. Dan Campbell went for it on 4th down in the first half, made it. And we're not gonna bash him for going on 4th down in the second half. He's played like that all year, every year since he's been there, since they've sucked. Since he got there 3 years ago. I'm not gonna bash him for being himself and trusting his team. But we can be a little critical of it. Why? Simple. You can go up 3 scores. That's tough. It's tough to come back from. But you left it at 2. At the end of the day, before we get into the 49ers, this came down to one team not making the plays when they absolutely needed to, and the other team capitalizing on every single mistake and missed opportunity that the other team did not capitalize on. And that's when the momentum shifted. The moment this game shifted was the 4th and 2 that Josh Reynolds dropped. It was in his hands. A little behind him. But Goff had to move out inside the pocket a little bit. He was getting pressure off his left side from Chase Young, I believe. And drops it. What happens? Ayuk, 50-yard bomb. 51-yard bomb. Bounces off of Vildor's helmet. Should have been picked. Bounces off of Vildor's helmet, and Ayuk makes a perfect adjustment to the ball, concentration-wise, and catches it at the 1. Christian McCaffrey, touchdown. Down 7. Okay? You're down 7. What happens next? Simple. What happens next is this. Next offensive play for the Detroit Lions. The rookie sensation Jahmyr Gibbs runs the wrong way on the handoff. Does not secure the ball. And Tashaun Gibson rips it out of his hands. Recovered by the 49ers at like around the 20-yard line. Couple plays later, touchdown Ayuk. Tie game. That's it. 24-24. Right there on the road. You gave the momentum back to the home team in a quarter. We're talking about 8 minutes, guys. This was 24-24 going into the fourth quarter. From 24-7 at halftime. This was quick scores. Quick. Brock Purdy played great in that second half. He shut down all the critics. All of them. Except Shannon Sharp and people that are still, he's a game manager, whatever. And of course, his teammates are playing into it. Well, look at Brock Purdy. 20 for 31, 267. A touchdown and a pick. Okay. A touchdown and a pick. Christian McCaffrey, 20 for 90. 2 touchdowns rushing. Purdy, 5 huge runs that led to 6 first downs. And most of these runs were on second or third down. 5 for 48 and a long of 21. That was huge to finishing this game. Elijah Mitchell, 4 for 7 and the touchdown when to put him up 34-24. When McCaffrey landed on his head and asked to be out one play. Debo went 3 for 7. And Kyle Juszczyk went 1 for 3. Debo went 8 catches, 89 yards. Brandon Ayuk, 3 for 68. They're pretty big, those 3. Christian McCaffrey went 4 for 42. Kyle Juszczyk went 2 for 33. 2 huge plays. One on third down when Purdy dodged a sack like Lamar and threw it tiptoe catch to get the first down. And another one on third down where he was trying to escape to and found Juszczyk on a crosser. Kittle, 2 for 27. Jawan Jennings, 1 for 8. That one was huge. Another third down. Rolling back, throwing behind him. Throws it a blooper. Jawan Jennings, saves his quarterback by catching a one-handed pass for the first down. 49ers made plays. 49ers made plays. And the magic of the Lions ran out. Let's look at my breakdown. Okay? Okay, up 17 at halftime, 24-7, followed by a 27 points unanswered by the 49ers. 27 points unanswered. Including, it was a field goal, 3 touchdowns straight. Okay? And then another field goal. Okay? Lions go for it on the fourth down that Reynolds drops it. Okay, no problem. With a chance to tie the game. Down 3. MCDC sticks to his guns and goes for it. Eric Armstead pressures Goff out of the pocket. If he would have stayed in the pocket, he had Amon-Ra coming free on a crosser. But he rolls out to his right because he has to get away from the pressure. Tries to throw it to Amon-Ra St. Brown. Falls on the ground. 49ers go down, score. Take a 10-point lead. Lions get the ball back. 3 timeouts. Work all the way down the field. Run the ball on 3rd and goal. Have to take one of the timeouts. So now you have to get an onside kick. Score with J-Mo in the back in the end zone on 4th and goal. The onside kick goes 9 yards. It gets touched, illegal touch. Boom, game over. That was it. Josh Reynolds, 2 drops. 1 on a third down on a crosser. That was really bad. Kyle Shanahan and Brock Purdy started figuring it out in the second half. CMC started to cook. You know, Brock turned into more of a runner in the biggest spots when nobody was open on third down. The 49ers defense went from open gates to shut down procedure in one half. They shut it down. They allowed 3 points. That's it. Until the touchdown by Jameson Williams. All the second half. Gibbs played amazing except a critical fumble that led to a quick TD to tie the game. And the 49ers came back all in the third quarter. The Lions' magic had run out. And since MCDC lives by the sword, he also dies by the sword. I don't fault him for the second, fourth down, but I would have taken the points in order to have a chance to tie the game if San Francisco scored, which they did. We're talking about slim margins here, ladies and gentlemen. Slim margins. A drop here, a fumble here, another drop here, and boom. Your 17-point lead goes poof. You're on the road. You cannot let the team that you demoralized in the first half, you cannot allow them to get a second win. As soon as they tied that game, that defense got a second win and shut you down. Period. I want to give praise to the Detroit Lions because they've been bad for a long time. And like MCDC said, you don't know if you're ever going to make it back here. This might have been the only shot. It's going to be harder next year. Okay? Excuse me. With the Packers getting better. You know? Oh, the Cowboys. Maybe the Eagles get better. Commanders, you don't know what they're going to do. You know, Atlanta. You know, you don't know what they're going to do. Tampa's going to be there somewhere in the mix. You know? So you're going to have problems. Seattle, maybe they get better. You're still going to have San Francisco. You're still going to have the Rams. You know? So it's going to be tough. It's going to be tougher. You don't know what Arizona's going to do if they take Marvin Harrison, how that offense is going to look with K1. So, you know, it's going to be tough. Can they get there? I believe they can. They have all the talent in the world to do it and the right mentality. Okay? Shout out to Kyle Shanahan. Shout out to CMC. Shout out to Trent Williams. Shout out to George Kittle. Shout out to Kyle Juszczyk. Shout out to Steve Wilkes, Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, Charvarius Ward, Diamond Lenore, Hargrave, Eric Armstead, Chase Young, Christian McCaffrey, Debo, Ayuk. Shout out to everybody on that 49ers staff. Now, you're going to Las Vegas. We have ourselves a rematch of the 2019 Super Bowl. 49ers, Chiefs. Hey, I'm not going to break it down right now. But if the 49ers want their sixth Super Bowl in franchise history, you're going to have to beat 15. And frankly, that defense, and that's the best defense 15 has ever had in his career. And he already has 2 Lombardis. So good luck. I'll break it down probably not this week. I'll probably break it down next week. And the next episode, I'm going to break down the All-Stars in the NBA. The All-Star selections. Hopefully the reserves come out. I think the next, depending on when the rest of the equipment gets in, and my dad, us working, making the set, it depends if the next episode will be on video or the last audio episode. Like always, I thank you all. I thank all the support from my family, my friends, all you guys listening, and soon to be watchers. I appreciate you guys enjoying my content and my expertise and my intellect. I love to do this. I hope I could do this for the rest of my life. This is what I really want to do. And like always, I love you guys, and I leave you with the outro.
El fenómeno que todos quieren ser, el chamaquito que no pueden